Plaintiff Kaylee Blessum says the defendant is her older brother, but she often feels like the older, more responsible sibling. In fact, Kaylee first loaned her brother money when she was only 13 because he said he was in trouble. But she later discovered that he used that money to throw a house party. Kaylee's suing her brother today for an unpaid loan. Defendant Bart Blessum says he and his sister have always been close, and he never thought she would sue him. Bart admits he borrowed money from Kaylee, but insists he let her live with him rent-free, so he doesn't feel he should have to pay, and he's countersuing her for unpaid rent.
Start with you.
Okay, my brother and I used to be really close. Always hung out together, called each other, everything, every day. And now ever since this, it's just been going downhill. I feel like I'm the older sister, the responsible one, always helping him out when he needs it, and he's my little brother.
You ever loaned him anything in the past?
Yeah, actually,
did he pay
I have. Yes, he did. It took about 3 years to pay it off.
You never got upset about that?
Yeah, I did. The first time was $400. He called me and said that he smashed a window out of some guy's car with a brick, and that if he didn't pay him $400 to replace it, that the guy was going to beat him up.
How long did it take for him to repay you?
About 3 years.
Okay.
You know, I was 13 years old at the time, so I was terrified for him. I didn't want him to get hurt, so I borrowed him the money, and
it took him how long?
About 3 years.
How long did he say it would take him?
Just a couple of months. Well, I found out later, though, he finally admitted to me that he lied about the money, and he used it to throw a house party while my dad was away. And he got busted and spent the night in jail. And my dad let him stay there to see if he'd learn his lesson. But that didn't happen.
All right. Go ahead. You want to give me some background before we get to this latest money she's suing you about?
Well, like she said, we were really close for the longest time, and we have mutual friends together, and I never thought she would ever sue me for what she says I owe her.
This is a lot of money.
Yeah, but I thought it was more of a loan than anything. I let her live with me.
That's why she's suing you. She's calling it a loan. Tell me about this other loan. Tell me about this other scam you ran on her for $400.
That's true. That was when I was in high school.
Take you as a hostage and torture you if you didn't. No. You said it's true.
No. What she said was true. That I lied to her when I was younger.
Oh.
And took advantage of it.
Okay. How old were you?
17, 18.
Were you working?
No.
Oh, ma'am, how did you expect for him to pay it off if he wasn't working? Go ahead. Tell me how this loan came about. This time they were going to hang him upside down until his debt was paid, or what was the excuse this time?
I got a loan for $6,500.
Why?
He had a high interest loan at a bank. Through a bank, it was, I think, like 20-something% interest.
Wow, that's loan sharking.
Yeah, and I get
All right,
about...
so they were going to break his legs.
Right.
That was probably true that time. Did you owe that much?
I did from a...
Did you ever see evidence of that?
No.
He ripped you off the first time with a story. Why? And he wants how much this time? $6,000?
$6,500.
You definitely should have seen some evidence for that. You should have went and spoke to the goons or something. Go ahead, ma'am.
Well,
so he tells you he needs $6,500 this time.
Right, to pay off a high interest loan. And
well, Your Honor, that's not true. I didn't ask her to borrow the money to pay off anybody. She volunteered.
No, I didn't volunteer.
Pardon me?
How did she know you owed the money?
When she had moved there and she was living with me, we had talked about my high interest loan, and then I did have a bank loan with high interest, and I didn't ask her. I didn't say anything, and she just, as far as I was concerned, it was more of a gift, like her living with me.
That's as far as you were concerned. I know you were concerned about how you were going to pay that money back, but did she say it was a gift?
No, she didn't say it was a gift.
Well, then, go ahead. How much did he repay? Because you're suing him for $3,100 today.
About $675.
So why are you only asking for $3,100?
Well, the original agreement that I wrote up a promissory note for us to both sign.
Oh, let's see it.
I don't remember.
You what?
I don't remember that.
Yes, you did sign it. It was in November.
Go ahead.
He was supposed to pay...
You were under duress? That's a legal defense. You were under duress. The goons were going to get me, so I signed this under duress. All right, go ahead.
Well, I know he gets paid every Friday, so we made the agreement that he would pay me $250 every Friday until he was paid off. And then the last payment would be interest, any interest that accrued, or finance charges or anything. So as you can see, he started making a couple payments, but then every time, after a couple weeks, that's when the excuse is starting. Okay. He couldn't afford it, the full $250 on Friday, so we wait till Wednesday or...
All right, let me allow him to respond. Sir, you said that you didn't know that it was a loan, you thought it was a gift, yet I have a promissory note with you agreeing to pay, and you say you don't remember signing this.
No, I don't. And she
take
borrowed...
a look and see if it will refresh your memory.
She had borrowed me money for a truck also.
Yeah, just look at that.
Well, I thought this was for the truck, not for the bank loan.
You didn't read it.
I don't remember.
Whatever it was for, you did agree to pay that amount of money.
Well.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. You're countersuing, sir, $1,000 for unpaid rent?
I let her live with me because I figure that's what family does, help out family, and didn't ask her to pay anything.
Family repays people also.
Absolutely.
In this case, you haven't helped her.
But
because you won't pay her her money.
But I did help her by giving her a free place to live.
It wasn't free, it was $6,500. Ultimately, go ahead.
She had to pay nothing.
But I had to clean all the time. I had to make sure all the laundry was done, do all his household things, make sure everything was clean all the time.
Is that right? She had to maintain the household?
Yeah, because she wasn't paying any bills. And
all right, so that's why wouldn't you view that as an even exchange?
Because... I don't know.
No, yeah, don't get yourself in trouble with the ladies thinking that there is no real offset with a woman maintaining the household and the man bringing home some money. In fact, you might owe her a little more.
Yeah.
There was a recent study that calculated a woman's work in the home would be approximately $100,000 in salary.
Yeah, I agree.
So you want your 100? So you can have your rent. I'll give you your rent. You want 1,000? You owe her 99,000 now. Let's get to it. Did she agree to pay your rent? That's the issue, sir. We can only enforce a contract if there was an agreement.
Just no, there was no agreement on paying.
And did she later say she would pay you?
Pardon me?
Did she say at a later date that she would pay you?
She said if I ever needed help, she'd help me out. And that way with bills and stuff like that.
No, because I was just helping you cleaning. I didn't say...
All right, ma'am, you need help?
No, I didn't.
All right, well, then she doesn't owe you yet. All right, ma'am. I'll grant you your judgment, $3,183. He has signed a promissory note. Sir, with regard to your claim, as I said, in order to sue someone for breach of contract, you have to have had a contract. You can't wait until someone moves out or until you decide to assess an amount that they owe and say, hey, I want you to pay me this amount. So that's the dilemma you have here and can't help you legally. So your counterclaim is dismissed. Have a good day.
I'd like to work on it. She is my little sister.
So. And I would like to get the rest of my money. He still owes me money, so once I get that, maybe we can talk about it.